Angela Dahlgren. Oh my gosh, it is so bright. Okay, when I tested this with my real camera, it wasn't as bright. Is this better now? Okay, good. I think it is. Anyway, welcome to another Facebook Live. I'm Angela Dahlgren. It's been a while. I know that Brian and I haven't been as consistent with our Facebook Lives, and it's just because it's been the holidays, and we've been working on our podcast, which we can now tell you about. So it's just been really, really crazy around here. But hopefully we can stay consistent until maybe Christmas week, and then we'll be back to normal. Anyway, if you're joining me, tell me where you're joining me from. Brian, I think he'll be joining me today on this live stream, which is great because there are some questions that I think he could answer better than I could. So, okay, I'm going to make it so I can see the comments because right now I can't and I don't know why. Okay, send me a comment and tell me where you're watching from so that I know that I'm getting them. Okay, because that would like really help me out. Okay, Jean, hi from Maryland. I'm getting the comments. Excellent. I've been like sitting in front of my computer for the past 40 minutes, so it's not like I wasn't prepared today. I don't know why it's taking me so long to get things together. Okay, I got my comments up on my computer. Hopefully Brian will be joining us shortly. If not, we'll make it work. Paige, hi from UWEC. Got mine too. Oh gosh, you guys. Okay, this is me on coffee. This is why I'm so crazy. All right, Brian is joining us. We will invite him. It'll be a fun time. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Oh, your tree looks so nice.
I don't have my headphones in yet. Hold on. Okay, there. Now I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just trying to make it so I can see the comments from my phone.
Oh, and I'm tipping my phone over. Oh, there it goes.
We're a mess today, I tell you.
Yeah, I didn't actually get myself very set up beforehand here, so.
The thing is I did, and I'm still a mess. Anyway, I will ask our Disney dialogue questions while you get set up. Okay, I don't know why I'm so blurred out with the light. I have the blinds down. I have a light on overhead. I don't know, guys. Brian has a better lighting thing than me. Oh my gosh, someone is going crazy with these hearts and these emojis. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So my Disney dialogue question, I always ask a question at the beginning of our live chats because it makes it fun. And mine is about our vlogs. So you might have noticed on our YouTube channel, which is TouringPlans, that Brian and I have been vlogging a lot more. I'm wondering what you think about them. Do you like Disney vlogs? What is it that you like about them? I'm really curious. So let us know because we're just trying it out to see if you guys like it and provide some information along the way. So yeah, what do you think? Do you like doing them, Brian?
I love doing them.
They're so fun.
I tend to be the type of person who talks nonstop anyway. So if I'm pointing a camera at myself or not, doesn't really matter to me. So, whatever you just did there helped your lighting a lot.
Did it?
Yeah.
I tapped on myself. Wow,
yeah.
Maybe that was the trick. I still can't see the comments, but you know. Let's say some hellos. Hello, Noreen from Tennessee, Janet from Plymouth, Minnesota. You're not too far from me. LA Trevi Sierra from Atlanta and Michelle from El Paso. Welcome, everyone. Yes, so let us know what you think of the vlogs. Brian and I are really enjoying doing them. It's been so fun to edit them because it's just a different way to do it. And so I've been really enjoying that. Hopefully on my next visit, I can definitely vlog some more. And I know Brian for sure will be in January.
I definitely will be doing something. Yeah. I'm probably, my top 5 videos are probably going to get a little bit less frequent than weekly. And in their place, I'm probably going to do a little bit more freeform stuff or possibly more research-related stuff like the Pandora video I did where I went and wrote Flight of Passage first thing in the morning. I'll probably do at least one more of those for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And then I have a couple other things, some that I shot already, some that I'm going to shoot that will be going up. So fun.
That'll be awesome. And if you guys haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, do it. Brian and I, what's great about us is that we have very different ways of doing things. And so we tend to, if someone how am I wording this? If like I'm not your cup of tea, Brian will probably be, and vice versa. So he tries to upload 2 to 3 times a week. I upload once a week. So definitely subscribe if you can. And that kind of applies to our podcast. Brian, do you want to talk about our podcast after you drink your water?
Sure.
Yeah.
And the reason I upload more than she does is because I don't edit very much. She does. So
I know, I'm a perfectionist. It like has to be perfect and well done. And Brian, he just does it right the first time.
I don't know about that, but yeah, we are doing an official Touring Plans podcast. Finally, the two of us are going to be your regular hosts, and then there will be kind of a rotating cast. There is an episode up now, and let me find. I will find the iTunes link and post it as I am talking. And the first episode will be with Erin Foster. In fact, possibly the first couple of episodes will be with her, talking about some basic planning stuff. And then after that, we're going to be talking some with Fred Hazelton, our statistician, possibly Steve Bloom, our other statistician. Definitely Len Testa will be on, although he keeps reminding me that it will be infrequent, even though people keep asking for him to be on. So, but he is,
I know.
Yeah, he is unfortunately very busy. So
we're taking over. Yeah, you will notice that I'm very quiet in the first couple of podcasts, and it's because Erin is like, when I first started following Touring Plans before I worked there, I really looked forward to her articles because she's so in depth. She really does the research, and she really thinks about questions that you guys might have and puts them into written form. So I was just in awe listening to her. So it's basically Brian interviewing her and me listening. So hopefully I'll be more vocal in the next one.
There was actually a point in our chat where I was going, Angela, you okay? You're not talking.
It was a mixture of that and not having coffee. Oh my gosh. So I will definitely be talking more. Probably to the point where you guys will get annoyed with me. But yes, they were very, very fun to record. We'll probably be recording more next week and just getting some pre-recorded before the holidays. So like I said, we can be consistent with our uploads. What day of the week did we decide on?
I think we might try Mondays. That might not work for the first one. The first one I will probably just put up as soon as we get it. The Aaron, the person the guy who edits the Disney Dish podcast with Len and Jim Hill, is also editing this for us, and Christmas is a busy season for him. So I don't know exactly when that first episode is going to be up because of that, but after that, it should be weekly on Monday. And I posted the link to iTunes. You may notice, I think it is still there, that there are also a bunch of random Saturday Sixes listed as podcasts, which Derek will be thrilled with, I'm sure. There was a weird pickup because he mentions other podcasts and links to them in his posts. So it picked it up on the RSS feed. I think I've cleaned it up. As soon as iTunes reloads that, I'm hoping it will fix it. But
I was wondering what that was. I'm like, is Derek recording these while he writes them? Like, what is this? But yes,
a book on tape of Derek's Saturday Sixes would be right up his alley, actually.
Well, but then you wouldn't have his pictures, which people love, and his cartoons. But yeah, I know people were saying that our podcast wasn't showing up on iTunes. It should be now. We've been approved. So yeah, let's get to some comments that I've been seeing because I don't want to ignore you guys. Question for the two of you. This is by Robert. Ryan, in your visits to the parks and resorts, is the skyline construction moving ahead quickly? There will be some interesting sites due to the many large towers needed to hang the wires from. So this looks to be a Brian question. Did you see any gondola construction or the skyline?
Well, yeah, because one of the places I stayed last time when I was there a couple of weeks ago was Art of Animation. So one of the Skyliner stations, I guess, is going to be right in between Pop Century and Art of Animation. So there was all it really looks like from the ground is walls. I've seen some aerial construction where there are actual, I think there are concrete pilings back there now. From what I've seen of most of the sites, though, it looks like they're still just kind of clearing and leveling the land and setting it up. But the Skyliner, and actually I know one of the questions you got yesterday I saw that I just have to find, oh, Colleen Heath asked when the gondola system is expected to be completed, which ties into this because um, I don't think they're expecting it to open until the 50th anniversary, which is 2021. So we're looking at least 3 years before it even goes into testing. So I don't think they're rushing it, really.
That's interesting because the gondola system, from what I've read, takes like 6 to 10 months to actually build. But you know that Disney's going to put their own spin on it and do a theme and make it really detail oriented. So, gosh, they've just got so many projects going on in general. They'd have to take their time at this point.
Yeah, and that's probably some of it. I mean, there's only so many construction crews in Central Florida that can handle work like this. And between that, Disney and Universal right now, they're all busy, I think.
Oh my gosh, they're having to like hire more people just to keep up with demand. You guys should do a video. This is from John. You guys should do a video where you get a pre-park opening, be our guest reservation, and then show how many rides you can ride when the park opens. I have actually done that before. I haven't made a video about it, but I've actually done that where I've had an 8:10 reservation for Be Our Guest, and then as soon as we got out of breakfast, we went straight in line for Peter Pan's flight, and I think we did Peter Pan's flight. And it's a small world. In Pirates of the Caribbean, and my daughter was too young for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at the time, but that would be a really good video idea. Maybe we should put that on our list for next year.
Yeah, I've done it with Cinderella Royal Table. In fact, just in August, we did it. We didn't do it intentionally necessarily, which is part of the reason I probably didn't think of videoing it at all. But we had walked out of Cinderella's Royal Table, and it was about 10 to 9, I think, expecting that none of the attractions would be open yet. In fact, we weren't even sure if we were technically allowed to be in Fantasyland at the time because the park wasn't open. But nobody stopped us, so we kept going, and we walked over to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, figuring, okay, we'll be first in line, and it was running already, and we ended up riding it twice back to back with no line. They were just letting the people in that had the dining reservations, and then sure enough, about 9:05, this huge crowd is being walked right towards us. So we're like, oops, we're done.
Yeah, you guys are like, well, we just rode it twice, so we don't care. But yeah, you know what? I will write that down. Be Our Guest, rides, and I will put that on my list to record next time I'm in Walt Disney World because that is a very good suggestion. Betsy, y'all going to talk about the fiasco that is the DVC Moonlight Magic booking that is currently happening? Brian, I honestly don't know much about this. Do you?
I know nothing about this other than that I just read that, although I didn't read it as in quite the southern accent that you did, but...
Oh, I didn't even try it. I just said y'all. I'm going to try to brighten my screen. Okay, there we go. Will someone tell us in the comments what this is about? Because now I need the gossip. So spill the tea. Is that what the kids are saying? Spill the tea. I forgot.
I have no idea.
I'm just trying to keep up with the times, you guys. LA Trevi Sierra, love your vlogs. Any tips for meeting characters at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party? I'm going for the first time next Thursday. Definitely, if meeting the characters are important to you, I think, you know, the characters, you can meet them starting at like 7 p.m. and some people line up as early as 5:30 p.m. So if meeting them is a priority, definitely get in line early if you want to meet as many as you can. Brian, do you have any other suggestions?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I would focus on, you know, at least start with like 1 or 2 characters and find out where they meet, and then start asking, heading over there as early as possible. I think that you don't, I mean, they usually come out at like 5-ish, I think. But find, you know, cast members or go into guest relations, find out, make sure you know where they're meeting, when they're coming out, and then be there as early as possible.
Yeah, so I hope that helped you out. Yeah. Sorry, I like stopped thinking while you were talking, so that was a bad way to wrap that up. I know that we have more comments coming in, but I would really like to get to a couple questions that people asked beforehand. So Adam Benjamin said, any word on Hall of Presidents opening soon? Disney really hasn't made any statements since summer, and at that point, it was late 2017.
Well, yeah, this is weird. I talked about this on the news YouTube video that I did yesterday because WDW Magic is saying that, and I'm looking for the story to make sure it's still here, but they were saying that Hall of Presidents was going to open right before Christmas, but that is literally the only place I have seen it so far, which is strange. WDW Magic is usually pretty accurate. They don't tend to report stuff until they know it to be true, which is one of the reasons I like to use that as a source. Yeah, it says the long-awaited reopening of Magic Kingdom's Hall of Presidents will take place before Christmas, according to sources familiar with the matter. And that's it. Disney, obviously, not only has Disney not said anything, their travel agent refurbishment site still says to be announced. It's not listing any hours on the regular Disney site for it. I haven't seen this reported anywhere else that I normally check anyway. So, and honestly, if I did see it reported, my guess is that WDW Magic would be the source anyway. So I don't know exactly how to take that because I do trust them normally, but it's weird that we're so close. I mean, Christmas is 18 days away, so it's coming quickly, and they still haven't said anything. Now, I wouldn't be surprised from Disney's point of view if they did open it without much fanfare, just because I'm sure they're unsure of what the reaction will be to reopening the Hall of Presidents right now. But
they don't really publicize it.
But still, I would think that it would show up on the calendar or something.
Right. I mean, they're doing a new show. That's what they said, and a theater upgrade. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it would take the whole year to do. So yeah, you do wonder what the holdup is. But yeah, so that, Adam, I hope that answers your question. And John had quite a few questions for us. I will just answer one right now, but I do have others that I'll talk about later. Can you explain the refillable popcorn bucket procedures? He says that there's been a lot of conflicting info. So I looked this up just, right before this.
Good, because I have no idea.
I did my research. So like the buckets are like $10, which I don't think is bad anyway. And to refill it, it's $1.50. But according to the Moms Panel website and then other websites, you can refill it as many times as you want throughout your stay at any theme park or anywhere that refillable popcorn buckets can be used. So, anywhere they sell popcorn where you can refill it, not just the theme parks, and it doesn't have to be at the theme park you purchased it at. I think that's a really good deal if you're someone like me who really likes the popcorn and you think you're going to get a lot. Paying $10 and then $1.50, do the math and see if it's worth it for you. So I hope that answers your question, John. And then we have some more. Brian, do you want to pick out a few comments?
Oh, sorry. I was listening to your explanation because I did not actually know most of that. So.
Well, thanks for listening. My husband doesn't listen, so I appreciate this.
Let's see. This is one I don't know, although some of our viewers might be able to help. Susan asked how far the renovations are at Pop Century. These are the room renovations. They are changing over the rooms to a vinyl floor and one, instead of two standard beds, it's going to be one queen size bed and then one queen size Murphy bed, which are the ones that fold up into the wall, which is great, especially if you are a single person or a couple that is staying there, because that gives you so much more space with that Murphy bed up. Even if you have kids and you are willing to put the bed up and down, it's so much nicer. But as far as I know, they are still on the 80s building, I think, last I heard, although it's been a couple of weeks, which is why I'm asking, because it's possible somebody else has heard something more recently. The 90s building is completely done. 80s was mostly done last I heard. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were on. I think they're just going backwards in years. So I think they're going into the 70s now, although it's possible they may just jump to the other side and do like I don't know what, I don't remember the layout of Pop Century, so I'm not going to just start naming buildings, but yeah, I don't know. The 90s are definitely done. 80s are mostly done. So if you definitely want a new room, go with one of those.
Well, and as of June, the 80s building was very close to being done, so
Yeah.
I'd be really surprised if it wasn't. I was just looking that up. And some people are really not happy with the new rooms. I personally kind of like them. It reminds me of the contemporary, and I like that theme. Some people are saying it's a little too sterile, a little too bare bones, but I don't mind that personally.
Yeah, I was in one of the yacht club rooms are like that now, where they have the vinyl flooring. It's a much more contemporary design, not contemporary in the hotel, contemporary as in the adjective, although they're the same thing in a lot of cases, but it's definitely a lot less Disney. I mean, there were very, very few details in the yacht club room that even made me think I was at Disney World. I like one or two Mickey things, and that's about it. So I can definitely understand the argument there. I personally like that look better. I like the clean. I love the flooring, the vinyl flooring. It makes it it feels less gross than the carpeting, to be honest.
Yeah, like a little cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I've seen the pictures, and I totally get it.
And I went right from there to a beach club room, and the beach club rooms are looking a little bit tired now. And there was, like there was some stains in the carpet, like nothing serious, but just that a hotel room that has been used for years gets little drops of coffee on it, things like that. And going right from one to the other, I was like, ooh, yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, as far as the pub, I'll just to finish my thought. With those value kind of hotel rooms, it seems like they get a little, like they tend to be more kiddish and a little silly as far as their theme. And a lot of people really like staying at those resorts from the kids' perspective, or because it just really gives off that Disney feel. So yeah, that definitely pop being upgraded. Some people don't like that because they kind of like the old theme, but I'm fine with it.
And
just to move on.
And I see, just out there, I see a couple of people. Mary says that she believes they're in the 70s building now. So, which, like I said, is entirely possible. And John, yes, the 90s are completely done, although the 90s building is a little bit far away. And I want to say hi to Michelle and Mylene. Michelle is my wife. She is at work, so, and she's supposed to be working, but,
working
so am I.
Hardly working. So. She's being supportive, though, so I wouldn't call her out. She's watching us ramble on and on and on. Okay, question from Scott. Question about Magic Bands. Does the battery life start when it's manufactured or when it's activated? I know they're supposed to last for 2 years, but if I buy one on clearance, how long can I expect it to work? It's a very good question. I mean, I would guess it like once you start using it, right? Like once you start scanning it. But I don't know. I mean, that's like, I'm stumped.
I'm not sure there's actually a battery in them at all. I don't know enough about those type of devices to be 100% sure. But as
I did a video on them, Brian. There is a
battery in there. Okay, I was gonna say because it is a passive RFID. Like it doesn't do any of the scanning itself. It just has to be there to be recognized. So the amount of energy used then I would think would be very, very small. So, and a simple watch battery, which would be my guess as to what is in there, I would imagine would last several years. I have some that are, I until recently I had some from the initial Magic Band testing in whatever it was, 2011, 2012. And I hadn't used them in the parks in years, but last time I did, they still worked. So
I wonder if it depends on how often you go. Like if you're an annual pass holder and you go like once a week, so you're using it for those purposes. But yeah, as far as with my video with the Magic Bands, you can get a new one every stay. If you don't want to, Disney just kind of suggests replacing them every 2 years because of battery life.
Yeah, and I've stayed on site enough, and that I've gotten a new one every so often anyway, and I'll just change them over. So it hasn't come up, but yeah, I don't know.
So there is your not answer, Scott. I'm sorry we couldn't do better, but that was like a really tricky question.
Mm-hmm.
So just replace them every 2 years, and, or just when you're staying on property, just get a new one. Speaking of which, there's like a rumor or news that they're coming out with a new colored magic band that's like millennial pink. In other words, I say Angela pink because it's like my favorite color, but they're just like a light pink. That's the rumor. And it's like black rimmed, like outlined. That's different. I mean, if anyone cares, that's like the news on the magic bands. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Tom, I know, is really curious about the refurb with the Liberty boat or Liberty River boat.
Yep.
He just wants to know if they have a timeline as far as when it's going to be reopened. And according to our website, it's uncertain at this point.
Yeah,
but I know that a lot of people like Tiana's riverboat, which I haven't done. It's like a dessert party, right?
Yeah, I forget exactly what it's like, a dessert party afternoon tea thing, I believe. They do it right leading up to the midday parade, the Festival of Fantasy parade. So it's a viewing platform for the parade as well. But no, I haven't done it either. Yeah, the travel agent site still lists it as January 8th to be announced. So that's the official Disney timeline. I think Tom said June on there, which is possible. Whenever I found from experience, whenever they list it as TBA, it usually means like 3 months or more. So, but I don't know, and we're still not sure what for. But
well, Heather had a couple questions that I really liked. I will just answer one for now. She was wondering about doing the dessert party for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It's at the Tomorrowland Terrace. Magic Kingdom has 2 fireworks dessert parties. One's at in like the Plaza Garden viewing area, and then the other is the Tomorrowland Terrace. So as far as which one is better, I know that Daisy Lauren loves the one at Tomorrowland Terrace just because of the view. And the one for the Christmas party is there as well. So you'd be on the patio, and it's like $79. As far as if it's worth the extra expense, everyone I've talked to who's done a dessert party says that it is worth it. Now, if you're already paying money to go, like a hard ticket Christmas party ticket, and then you want to do the dessert party on top of that, that does get really pricey. So then it just comes down to if you want that really good viewing location or if you don't mind getting there a little early. Would you say?
Yeah, no, that sounds exactly right. I haven't done the dessert party during the Christmas party, but I've done it on regular nights, and it's nice. It's expensive, but
yeah, I don't think I would do it just because I'm paying to go to the party. So I wouldn't want to take time out of the party to then, go to the dessert thing. I think I'd probably rather go on rides or something like that, personally. And I'm already getting free sweets, with like the cookies and the eggnog and all that stuff, the snow cones. So what do I need extra desserts for?
When you were at the Christmas party, what were the lines like for the free sweets?
They were actually pretty long. I thought I was going to a good party with low crowds, but it was super duper busy. It really was. Like, I was kind of shocked, and I don't know if it's because we were there and I had a double stroller and my mom was in a scooter. I don't know if that's the reason why. So it just seemed a little more, busy and more of a hassle, but it was just like really crowded and the lines were long. And unless you were looking at the map, it was kind of hard to know where the treats were. So definitely pick up a map and really utilize it if picking up those free treats is something you want to do, because otherwise you're not going to really know where to get them.
Well, that's why I asked, because when I was at the first party, which was sold out, so it was pretty busy, the lines for those things were long until I would say for the first 2 hours of the party. They were very extensive lines. So I didn't get any of the free stuff until towards the end of the night, because I just didn't want to wait in those lines. So that's why I was curious. Yeah, I wonder if they started upping the number of people allowed at the parties because
Yeah, it was crazy, I thought, as far as last year when I went, and it was almost the same time. It was a Tuesday, like a week apart, and it was way less crowded at that party.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I think. And only certain treats are served at different areas. So like my dad wanted a pretzel, but pretzels were over in like Frontierland or something. So we ended up just buying one in Tomorrowland. So because it's like you don't want to go through the crowds just for a free pretzel. It's like time versus money in that respect. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. What other comments are we getting? Adam, will BB-8 be at the launch bay through February? I don't know. Do you know, Brian?
I don't know. I don't think they've said officially when he will, how long he'll be there for, but with the new movie coming out pretty soon, it's entirely possible, especially if a particular character does, hits well from the movie, that they may change them around a little bit. So it's right. Yeah, right now it's impossible to say what's going to be there in a couple months. I would imagine he would be, because he is so popular, and it's they probably spent a good deal of time and money on BB-8. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe the little evil black one will be there next time for.
Okay, I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you're gonna go see the new Star Wars next week. I have 2 toddlers, and our parents live an hour away, so we probably won't be seeing it till like February. Brian gets to go because he lives the glamorous life, so you're gonna have to tell me how it is so I can be jealous of you.
I actually don't. I actually don't know 100% that I'm going. I will try to, but yeah, a lot of times it depends on timing, and my friends will definitely go. Not really. My daughter, we took them to see. Yeah, we took them to see The Force Awakens. My daughter did not enjoy it. She got very upset at whatever Snoke, the giant hologram guy. So I doubt she's going to want to see this. My son is iffy, but I don't think he would want to go see it necessarily. So it's probably just going to be me.
Yeah, I definitely think it's for the older ages, just as far as understanding everything. I mean, my kids wouldn't even sit through it. So, but yeah, eventually I will see it. Probably won't be till like February, but I will try to. Scott said, with the launch of your podcast, are there any Disney podcasts you guys listen to? I was really big into podcasts before I had children. So it's like, I think 2012. And at the time I wasn't working for TouringPlans, so I'd listen to that podcast a lot. I listened to like Lou Mangello a good amount, the Be Our Guest podcast, but I haven't been doing that for 4 years. So I don't know how they are now, but Brian, do you listen to any?
Not Disney ones, really. I actually will still listen to Len and Jim Hill's Disney Dish podcast. But no, I don't be, especially because I do so much Disney stuff professionally now. I kind of want a break from it when I'm listening to podcasts most of the time. So, so I don't really listen to many. I listen to a lot of podcasts, just no Disney ones, mostly comedy and basketball. So.
Yeah, I'm more YouTube. Like I'll have YouTube on in the background if I'm doing something like doing dishes, not so much podcasts. But I'm slowly getting back into it. And like I said, if you guys have any suggestions for either guests on our podcast who you want to see, if you want Brian and I to have a wrap off, for Christmas on a podcast, or if you have any other ideas, please, you can email them to Brian or I, which is brian@touringplans.com or angela@touringplans.com. Or leave them in the YouTube comments. We make these podcasts and these YouTube videos for you, so we love your input.
There we go.
So please let us know.
Sorry, I've been looking down and shaking my head a lot, but it's just because I've been trying my Facebook on my laptop here. I decided to completely freeze up, and I couldn't get to any comments there for a while. So
it's okay. I got you covered. I could talk forever. Richard said, Len and Jim definitely have the most entertaining podcast for Disney. I love the ones, I don't know if they still do this. Yeah, I think they do, where they used to walk around the parks. I remember listening to one where they walked around Magic Kingdom, and Jim just kind of talked about the history of everything. And I really love those kind of history-related podcasts that they do. And they both know so much about it that it's like, I feel like I'm getting smarter as I listen.
Those are still my favorite ones. I'll go back on like their Bandcamp site. You can get to all the old ones, and I'll go back and listen to like them walk around the parks in like 2011, which is kind of funny because some of the stuff that Jim said was coming did for sure come, and some of it you know exactly why it didn't. Like, I think the first time they did it live in the Magic Kingdom, Jim was talking about Tomorrowland and said, oh, they're waiting to see how John Carter from Mars does because they want to redo this. And so then you're going, ooh, I know why that didn't happen.
Yeah, you're like, that didn't work out. Yeah, so that's definitely a really good one to listen to. And they just had a Disney Dish podcast weekend back in November, which, Brian, you got to be a part of for like 5 seconds, right?
Sort of, yeah. I went to one or two of the meets, but I wasn't part of the actual weekend. I was just coincidentally there shooting videos. So
yeah, I heard that went really well, though. So let me know if you went to that and what you thought. We have a few more questions. I really liked this one, again, by John Self. What are the most common things overlooked at the Valley of Moara? There was one that really stuck out to me, and it's when you first kind of walk in to Pandora, the world of Avatar. You pass that acid plant, the one that steams, and you knock on it. And then over to your right, there's this grassy area, I think it's by the bridge or something. There's this grassy area with like water in front of it. And if you look really close, a helicopter that's been overgrown with like weeds and grass, you can see the outline of a helicopter from the movie. So it's like something you would completely miss if you walked by, but it's that attention to detail that if you are happening to take a close look, you literally see like an overgrown outline of a helicopter.
I didn't notice that. Yeah. So you got to visit Pandora just recently for the first time. How'd you like it?
It's beautiful. I tried to include, I have a vlog that I put up this week, and I tried to include the sound so you could really get a feel for it. It's really unlike anything I've ever experienced as far as Disney, and I think they did a very good job on it. I know a lot of people have been saying in comments on Facebook that they wish that Disney would add more to it and had a little more to do there. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. They just did a great job on it. I really like the theme. I like that Disney isn't present at all, and it's more of that Ace brand because it's so different, and it really kind of takes you out of that Disney world for a little bit. But I still haven't been there at night.
No?
So what'd you think?
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I see what the criticisms would be over, not having as much to do because, it's like Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure in Orlando. They have, because they're supposed to be towns, there is a lot more shopping and things like that, where Pandora is supposed to be a wild planet. So, if they had put gift shops everywhere, that would have made it so much worse. So I can see that, but just, I don't know. I've also shot a few videos. I think my top 5 video tomorrow is also going to be about Pandora, just because that's the one that's closest to done right now. And I kind of was sitting around. I was waiting actually for the plants to light up at night, and so I just was kind of sitting there for, I don't know, a half hour or so, waiting for it to get dark enough that you could see the lights and I could film it. And just even sitting there, like looking around, was I really, really like the way it looks. And I think you're right. I think the fact that Disney isn't super present in it helps a lot, which you could say actually for Animal Kingdom in general, that Disney is not particularly present there the way it is in other parks. And I think to Animal Kingdom's credit. So it makes me very, very excited for Star Wars Land in a year and a half, because if they could do that with Pandora and have gotten great results from it. I don't know that attendance is necessarily up, but you can't say that there isn't interest, because that Flight of Passage line goes forever and ever and ever. So,
well, I used to not like Animal Kingdom because it didn't have that Disney presence. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously I'm like the ultimate Disney princess, magic, pixie dust person. So I was like, Animal Kingdom, you know, it doesn't really have a lot of that. But going to the Pandora, it's just so different, and it's so visually stimulating, and you could just look around forever. I really like that. And I know a lot of people do not like Navi River Journey, just, you know, because we're weighing pros and cons. The atmosphere is beautiful, and then people have been saying they want to see more attractions in Pandora. People are complaining. Actually, the reason I bring this up is because I was on Navi River Journey, and it's a very short boat ride. If you haven't done it, it's only like 4 minutes. I wouldn't say there's much of a storyline. It's really just like a boat ride of more of Pandora.
Yeah.
And the people behind me were like, we waited 3 hours for this. And then I got on the bus back from Animal Kingdom, and people said the same thing. They waited in line for 2 or 3 hours, and it was this 4-minute boat ride. So I don't know. Let us know what you think of it. It's still a beautiful ride, and it's very visually stunning, but I do wish there was a little more of a blunt storyline.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how short Navi River Journey is, considering it was a built from scratch attraction. Like it's not like Frozen Ever After that was going into an existing building.
Right.
They built that building there, and it's actually the same building that Flight of Passage is in. It's kind of hard to see when you're there, but that's all one building. Flight of Passage is on the top floor, and Navi River Journey's on the bottom floor. Which Jim Hill is the one that pointed that out to me, and also told, which I think he's told the story on the podcast before, that they realized the folly of that the first time a fire alarm went off, and they realized they had to shut down both rides at the same time. But that hasn't happened very often, luckily. So, but I think with Navi River Journey, the problem with it is the expectation right now, because it was designed as kind of an overflow for Flight of Passage, and they figured, it's not going to be that crowded ever, and it is right now. It is getting to be a 2 or 3 hour line, and it is very, very not worth that. If I was just having been on it a few times now, I would say if I saw that line at anything more than maybe 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes even, I wouldn't bother with it, I don't think.
I would probably if it was 20 minutes, but it's like, you've seen it once. It's beautiful. I would definitely suggest doing it at some point, but I wouldn't wait in line for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would even question a fast pass if you hadn't done Flight of Passage yet.
Yeah, if you can get the Flight of Passage fast pass, I would still say absolutely do that one.
Yeah.
If you can't, then Navi River Journey is fine.
Yeah. I'd rather do Kilimanjaro Safari personally.
Well, you can still, but you can get both of those. You can't get both Pandora attractions, so you could get Navi River Journey, Kilimanjaro Safari, and Expedition Everest fast passes all in the same day if you.
Yeah, you really could if you wanted to. Brian, while you look for another comment or question, I'm going to take the time to say that if we're not answering any comments, I always go back at the end of these and respond to you. So if you think, they're not getting in my question, I will get to it afterwards or at some point throughout the day. So have no worries. I do read them all.
So while we're talking about Pandora and FastPass, we had a couple questions about that. Danielle asked if it's better to get a FastPass Plus for Flight of Passage or get there at rope drop and right away. They are going to be there on an extra magic hour day. I would say, honestly, I mean, if you think it's the type of attraction you might like, both isn't a bad idea, honestly, to try to get a FastPass Plus for later in the day and do it early and get it in twice. I would still try to get the fast pass for it because you can always do Navi River Journey during the extra magic hour. That won't have much of a wait the whole hour. Or you can skip Pandora altogether and go do pretty much everything else in the park during that extra magic hour. I would still probably do that, but it's a good backup to have if you can't get the fast pass, knowing that you can easily just go first thing to Flight of Passage and get on it pretty easily. And then Richard asked if they should do Pandora at night or just get Fast Pass for any time available and do the walkthrough at night. They cannot do rope drop because they are on California time. So you didn't see it at night, right? So
I want to see it at night, and I hear that you need to see both day and night.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely a different experience. The problem with it at night right now is that it's still very crowded and the lighting is not very bright in there. So it can get a little dicey with, just walking into people and things like that because people are rightfully looking at other things and just not necessarily paying attention. So I definitely recommend seeing it at night. With the Fast Pass, just get what time you can. Don't mess around with it. Don't even think about it too long because if you wait 15, the Fast Passes go up at 7 a.m. East Coast time. So that's going to be either a very late night or a very early morning for you on the West Coast. By 15 minutes later, there may be no more for the day. So if you can get one, get it. If not, then if you can't do rope drop, I would suggest going like 15 minutes before the park closes and getting in line. You might still wait an hour, hour and a half, but it's better than the 3 hours you'll wait the rest of the day.
Well, and I don't promote just waiting till the last minute, but as you see in my vlog, we got fast passes for it the night before, and it was a matter of my uncle hitting refresh, refresh, refresh. And you did the same thing for Navi River Journey. I think the day after or 2 days after. So don't think just because you didn't get it at that 30 or 60 day mark that you're not going to get one at all. People drop them. Disney drops more for you to grab. They even will sometimes do day of. So don't think that if you don't get it right away that you're not going to get it at all. I did, and it wasn't even in our itinerary. We just pit stopped to Animal Kingdom, rode it, walk around so I could do some filming, and then left.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they do pop up every once in a while. I've seen them a few times actually, day of when I was there. So it happens, And
I'm not an early bird, so I'm not someone who would go before rope drop. So for me, it was just like, if I don't get to ride it, that would be a bummer. But, I was lucky enough to get one. And I would definitely do it again because it's like soaring on steroids.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Yeah, how you liked it.
Yeah, it was so neat. You could probably see in my reaction, like I wasn't even focusing on the camera because I was so busy trying to articulate into words how I felt about it. And it did make you feel it makes you feel weightless and like you can do anything and you're super powerful. And I don't know why it gave me those vibes, but I was so distracted by the feeling and watching everything that I didn't even realize that Banshee breathes. You can feel the lungs expanding and breathing underneath you. So I want to ride it again just so I can pay attention to that. But I guess in the test run, in the soft opening, that wasn't the case. It didn't do that, and the ride was a lot shorter. So if you were someone who did it during the soft opening or tested it early on, that will be a new feature for you, and it will be longer for you, the experience.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah, I love it. I've been on it 5 times now, I think. And it is. It's an unexplainable rush. You get really hyped up when it ends for reasons that I can't quite figure out.
Yeah, it's very adrenaline jumping, and I think it's because it kind of feels like a roller coaster. It gives you that same rush that a roller coaster would do, which is amazing because you're essentially stationary. You're not going up in the air. It's just the screen and the vehicle you're on. And I was originally worried about maybe getting a little claustrophobic because some people were saying that they had issues with that. I did not have any issues at
That's
all.
good.
And I'm someone where it's like, I get a little iffy. And I did not get any motion sickness at all. And I don't with Soren either.
Mm.
So if those are things that you're concerned about, I'm really sensitive to those things. And I was completely fine. So
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I get motion sick, usually on spinny stuff, but occasionally simulators will get me too. And like Star Tours is like right on the edge for me. Like
oh yeah.
depending on um, which section we get, yeah, which version we get. Some of them make me a little dizzy. Some of them I'm fine, and I haven't had any problem on Flight of Passage. So
yeah, so I think you guys should be fine. If Brian and I both get motion sickness and we were both fine, you should be okay. And if you're not, just focus on the Banshee guide, and that should help you out as well.
Tom asked if a 6-year-old would do okay on Flight of Passage. Did either of your kids do it or no?
No, Annie was just, I think, a little too short. She got to do Soren, and she was completely fine. She loved it. She was tall enough for that, and she just turned 4. So I would think a 6-year-old would be okay. I guess it depends on the height.
Yeah, I mean, my son is 6, and he's ridden it like 3 times. So
and he was okay.
Yeah, he was perfectly fine. Now I was last time I was there when I did it myself. I was on with a little girl who my guess is she was probably 5, like just barely meeting the height requirement, and she did not enjoy it. Like cried the entire way. Like as soon as it started till it ended was just crying, and I felt so bad for her.
So maybe wait till if your kid likes the roller coasters or like Soren, they'll probably be fine. But if you're questioning,
yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if they like, if you think they would like that type of ride, then they probably will.
Yeah, but your kids loved it. They wanted to wait for 2 hours, so they were big fans.
Yes, very much. It is my daughter's favorite attraction. In fact, we've been discussing for 2018 whether to go to Disney World or go to Disneyland in California, and she keeps voting for Disney World simply because she wants to ride Flight of Passage.
And how do you feel about that?
I always would like to go to California, just in general. So
it's on my bucket list to go as an adult. It hasn't happened yet, but hopefully in the next couple of years.
And you're so much closer to California than I am. So
I know. Is that like a 5-hour, 6-hour flight?
6 hours, yeah.
Jeez, that's only like 4 for me. I should definitely do that. Looking at the time, we got about 8 minutes. So we'll answer some last minute questions and look at the comments, and then I think we'll wrap things up. John asked, where are the best places to view fireworks at Hollywood Studios? As far as Fantasmic, the middle or the back for seating would probably be a good view, and then you don't get as wet. But those who get the dining packages tend to sit in the middle, so they get like the better view there. And then I haven't done Star Wars: The Galactic Spectacular, so I can't vouch for this answer. But what I've read is that if you're near the Grauman's Chinese Theater, that's a really great view. But I haven't done it.
Yeah, the Star Wars one is very, very projection heavy, more so than I thought it was. And when we saw it, we were pretty close to the theater. So we saw all the projections really, really well, but actually couldn't see some of the overhead fireworks because they, I guess, shoot them off far enough behind the building that like could only kind of see the top of them. In fact, I didn't know when we saw it how many of them we had missed until I looked after the fact, because we walked away thinking, wow, there really wasn't many fireworks to that fireworks show. And it turns out we just couldn't see them that well. So I would imagine somewhere in between, like they have the 2 projection towers up now at the end of Hollywood Boulevard. So I would imagine you probably want to be in front of those, but maybe not too far in front of those would be like the ideal setting. But I would say closer is better than farther away, because you know what fireworks look like already. The projections are something that are cooler to see, in my opinion. So.
Well, and that's how I feel about Happily Ever After. I feel like, when it was Wishes, it was okay to watch from like the contemporary, where they would stream in the music and stuff like that. But with Happily Ever After, it's so projection heavy that you need to be there and you need to be able to see the bottom of the castle. So
Yeah.
you need a pretty good spot to really absorb it all. And even then, there's so much to see. It's so visually stimulating, kind of like Pandora, that there's so much to look at. You'll have to experience it numerous times. But I haven't done the Star Wars one, and I heard it's really, really good. So it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, I liked it. I actually didn't like it as much as I thought I would, being a big Star Wars fan. But because it really, a lot of it was very much just retell it, like Star Wars highlights kind of thing. I actually haven't seen Happily Ever After yet, so we didn't go. We were there for 2 weeks in August, and we just never. Every time we went to the Magic Kingdom, intending to stay late, it got, because it was summer, so the fireworks weren't until like 10 o'clock, and our family are early risers, so our kids on a normal summer non-school day, they're still usually in bed by like 9 or 9:30, because my daughter insists on getting up at 6 a.m. regardless of what day it is. And so we would go to the Magic Kingdom intending, okay, we're just going to stay till the end, and then it would get to like 9 o'clock, and everybody would be getting kind of tired, and it would be getting crowded, and we just go, you know what? Heck with this. Let's go.
No,
So
I can totally understand that. For the Christmas party, you know, we did stay till the fireworks, but we were ready to go at 9 p.m. and they weren't till 10. So it was just kind of waiting around and filling in, and yeah. So, and we, at least our kids were in strollers, so I can understand that, but you definitely have to see it and make sure you can see the bottom of the castle. It's like I don't know how Disney will ever top it. I know that's like my go-to, but like, I seriously don't know how they will. Like, I don't know if it was Len who wrote up the Happily Ever After thing on our touring.
It was, yep.
But someone turned to him and said, I almost don't need the fireworks because the projections are that good and they're that technologically advanced.
I've heard
they even use lasers now that they weren't using before. Yeah, the fireworks definitely enhance it, but the projections are what really make it.
I've heard great things. And John asked if his non-Star Wars spouse would like the Hollywood Studios fireworks. And I also have a non-Star Wars spouse, and she liked them, didn't love them. It definitely doesn't mean as much if you don't understand who the characters are that are being projected on the buildings. It just kind of, you just see characters and they say lines, and there are, you know, space battles that don't really mean anything to you, I would imagine, if you aren't. Although even non-Star Wars fans, I'm sure, still know some of the characters.
Right.
But I would say she would still like it. I just don't think she would love it necessarily.
Yeah, you still get the fireworks aspect, so there's that. And Scott said, I love the Star Wars show, but the palm trees and everything else obstructing the view is a little annoying. Well, and from listening to you, Brian, it sounds like there's that sweet spot for a viewing location. Not too close, but not too far.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to get a good spot.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think Hollywood Studios was really designed for fireworks. So it's not like the Magic Kingdom where, you know, you basically have a viewing area that is, especially now with the hub reconstruction, you have a very wide viewing area, and you just don't at Hollywood Studios. So that kind of stinks.
Who knows if that will be adjusted in the future? Who knows? But I think we'll end this stream here. This will be put up on our YouTube page later today. And like I said, I'll answer any questions you have. We will be doing this next week. I think Brian will be.
I will be.
Next
week.
I may or may not be joining you yet. I gotta look at my schedule.
Okay.
But thank you so much for joining us.
problem.
If you have any more questions, write them below, and we'll see you next week.
And before you cancel it, starting possibly next week, but at some point in the future, we are going to be uploading these as podcasts to the same feed that the Touring Plans podcast is going to be on. So anybody who does catch this either right now or on Facebook later or on YouTube and prefers audio only, because you don't really need to stare at us while we're answering these questions, it will also be there. So.
Yes, I forgot to mention. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, now I will do my goodbye. We'll see you next week, you guys. Bye.